With the market up near its highs and the rotation happening with base and resources moving in opposite directions, the opportunities are firing left, right and centre below those top companies. And we're surfacing those with the top 30 momentum companies and the top 30 launchpad. That's the breeding ground of companies before they become those market leaders driving the momentum higher. The one who's been through these two lists is Gary Glover from Novus Capital. He's going to share with us the best opportunities, the setups and the lessons to pull from the market right now. And we've also got a bit of a request coming through. We've had a lot of requests this week, actually, from YouTube members. So if you want to join and be part of the conversation, you can join a member down below. Otherwise, subscribe to get the updates. Gary, you've been through this. We've got a whole list to cover, starting off with the momentum leaders. When you're looking at the momentum stocks on the ASX today, what's standing out to you with the dynamics of the market?
Yeah, I mean, look, we've had the big moves in uranium, lithium, iron ore, and obviously we're just seen a big move in energy stocks here the last couple of days as well. So definitely sort of still seeing kind of I guess a lot up in that area. So there's a few couple of biotechs in there, but yeah, there's a couple of other sort of outside on there. But that's I think predominantly I'd probably say 80% are in that metal space. I think you showed me something during the week there. I think it was 14 out of 15 sectors were all materials for one of the days or something. So yeah,
that was the launchpad. Yeah, there were only 3 thematics in the top 20 or 30 that were not in the mining space. But I guess that's not really much of a surprise for you, because a couple of weeks ago you were looking through the launchpad and said, well, this is just mining. And we know from your Tuesday report, you loaded clients up with mineral resources, BHPs and mining companies. And that's worked out really well. So it's often, well, it can be 2 to 6 weeks we see the transition from the launchpad to momentum. But when you're going through the charts here with momentum leaders, which companies and charts are standing out to you?
Yeah, look, we'll just go through them from the top here. So MTH was number 1 on the launchpad there. So not on the equilibrium momentum there. Obviously, it's only a bit of a new name, but it's had a big jump here. So
10 cents to 80 cents. It's
yeah. So definitely goes in the 100 club for me. But a little pretty volatile, pretty short move there. Big volume there. But you probably want to sort of see this sort of consolidate, sharpen up. It's come back already quite sharply, so that's probably a bit of a negative. You'd probably like to sort of see it be a bit more sideways orientated, but we'll watch and see what happens there. It's it probably just goes in one of my watch lists there. But you want to see some sort of consolidation there. AR3 was sort of again another small name there, Chris, as well. That's had a bit of a pop there, some okay volume there after pretty mean downtrend there, little small, but again, this goes on the watch list in terms, just watching, see if we can go through some sort of consolidation there. EZZ is obviously been on the list for a long time here now. It's been pretty strong there. A couple of, nice cup and handle in there in August, coming out of here, and then we had a VCP in sort of early September. I thought this might have been looking a little fragile there yesterday, but again, it's just still tightened up again, Chris, as well. So, yeah, so still hanging on there. Might just be another little consolidation there. Look, we do know these things can always go longer and harder than you think. But at this stage there, I mean, the 10-day moving average has been pretty. It's definitely well, it's well above the 10. So, I'd be, considering how vertical it is, I think, you've seen here in the past, the last leg up there hugged the 10 until it broke. So, if you're lucky enough to be trading this one there, I think I'd be using that 10-day moving average. Just at this stage, still a long way back. So, still sort of hanging on there. WRK number 7. Some pretty reasonable volume there, Chris. A bit of a smaller name, but yeah, pretty chunky volume there. Just probably too small for me personally, but this is pretty encouraging seeing all this, this heavy volume through here. So that's a sign of strength, not weakness there, seeing that those strong volumes. What we got there? Sigma, gee, this is unbelievable there, Chris. I sort of, thought this is a good lesson actually, really, because I mean, this is where our biases can get in the road there. So we obviously know this is Chemist Warehouse there. So good stock here. I sort of had, did have a couple of clients who sort of did buy some of this, and that's done very well here. But when it did sort of consolidate here, it's pretty interesting there. Did come out of here. Again, this is this sort of, I was watching stock be in the last couple of days there, sort of caught Kalamagi, and just talking about these sort of stocks that they don't show too much weakness. It sort of goes sideways, but are showing that relative strength. Once they come out of here, they're always the ones to follow here. So I think might have been 2nd of September there, did come out of there a little bit of a B wave break in there, did sort of consolidate again, did break another little swing high again here on the 30th of September. This one was a bit more, you saw a bit more volume starting to build through here and then kicked on here, but this is just ripped here. I mean, it sort of went on higher, consolidated here. When I saw this actually pop through to, I think it might have been this day here or so actually. But I thought this was just crazy. So a client of mine who had a reasonable sized parcel there, I've encouraged him to sort of sell like a quarter of them into that heap, but that's ended up being the wrong decision because it sort of kept going here. Thankfully, the client is still long 3/4. But it's an amazing move here. But just goes to show you, when you see those sort of strong names, show relative strength there, this has really gone sideways. It showed no weakness over the whole period. Then once they come out here, this is when you should be getting on there. Well, the other one that comes to mind there, not sure if it's on the list there, Chris, is that IDX. I just put this in my library yesterday because the original did a cup and handle, which I think I might have traded this one and didn't go on with it. And then it sort of come back again, and then it made another cup and handle here. For some reason, I don't know, I didn't have enough room for it, but didn't trade this one here. This one's obviously gone on with it, so once it's sort of broken above this 267 level here, it's managed to go all the way through to 303. It's still basically hugging still hasn't broken the 10 yet. So just goes to show, if you sort of keep those sort of cup and handles and those VCPs, we showed there in the model books, those are the setups that you typically see from the strongest names just over and over again. So if you are sort of trading the sort of relative strength, sort of stocks and showing strength there, those are the setups that you want to sort of keep sort of flying there. So, like me, we're gonna, when you see something like that, cut and paste it, put it in your library, make some notes on it. Whether it's the levels, your volume, just so you can sort of if you see it again, well, you keep a library there. You've sort of got a library over there, so if you can keep 20, 30 couple of handles there, maybe 40, 50 VCPs, and just have your library sort of just so you can sort of go through there, because it does sort of help you, because you'll see little pullbacks and little throwbacks, and then if you have your library of them, you'll know what they're going to do. So when they do it, it doesn't freak you out. I think it's important to sort of build that. I mean, if you all the great traders talk about them, reading the model books, understanding what the strongest stocks do, just having, I think, Kalamagi basically went through thousands of charts, printed them off, had them, like hard copies of them, so he knew what he was looking for there. I know stock, we talked about the same thing, these different sort of setups there. So that's what we should be doing. E25, I thought this one was interesting. Chris just said it had that big jump, pulled back here. Difficult one there because you've only got a 1 day wonder there, so hard to sort of trade that. I mean, it dried up here. You'd have to look at what sort of went on there. But yeah, bit hard to trade those, to be honest with you.
That's a game changer, or require the follow through to really be a part of that?
Yeah. Well, sort of, probably wouldn't be a game changer because it hasn't followed through there. So the game changer really. You're sort of like, you're using that. I think, the low from the first half hour typically is sort of what, I know if that's what Ivan Hoff uses there. So this thing was pretty wild here. So I don't know what that did in the first half hour here. When it might have, the first half hour might have come off a little bit. So your stop might have been here at 36.5 cents. And obviously this thing up to 48. So where do you trail that? I think you'd probably want to, if you got to 48 there, you might want to trail at break even just so you don't go home a loser. But yeah, this thing didn't, it's just too hard there as well. Just sometimes these smaller ones there, they can sort of pop up and then sort of sell off there. The thing about those sort of smaller stocks, you just got to remember there that you've normally got a register of holders who've been holding for a long time, like the founders and guys who put them together. And typically they're looking for a liquidity event to get out because they can't just sort of sell these, 3 or 5% holdings on any day. Or if they want, so if they want to sort of try and get out, it's usually looking for a liquidity event. So oftentimes you'll see that big news spark up, and it'll be fantastic news. Yet the stock might just absorb selling, and I'll be like, oh, why isn't this going crazy? Because normally there's a lot of sellers there been waiting there. Might have been a stock for 2 or 3 years. They're looking for an event, volume to actually get out that stock.
So one of the insiders, one of the management team wants to go buy a boat, and they need to wait for an announcement to become public, and then rouse enough interest so there's enough volume to absorb their selling, so then they can go buy a boat. But you got
to remember these guys have probably held the stock for maybe 2 or 3 years. They might have put the seed together. They've got a few performance options as well. So really, their average might be half of what it's traded at. So often they get free performance options for putting deals together. So the average is a lot lower than the average sort of trader there. So oftentimes they're not worried about price. They're just worried about volume getting done. So they might want to sell down half their holdings in a single day. People may not believe that, understand that, but I can tell you, being on the broking side of that, I've executed that quite a few times. So it does happen.
And what is it? What are they buying? Are they paying off the mortgage? They're buying a holiday house, a boat? What are they buying, Gary?
Well, oftentimes, obviously they might be, could be buying houses and stuff there, or they might even just be, obviously they've been in that sort of, put those things together. They work hard over a few years to sort of do that deal, and then
they want to actually get paid an income.
They want to get paid in the end after 3 or 4 years, and the company having some success. And that they'll probably still carry some, but they might sell some into that sort of strength there. Oftentimes, I'll actually just go and put it into sort of something more stable. Go
diversify.
Yeah, go and diversify it for another stock here. I thought Setai is pretty interesting, Chris. Here, it's probably, I'm going to not let my biases get in the way here, because this has sort of had some pretty good volume into the low, sort of almost exhaustion sort of style, and then it's come out pretty hard with some pretty good volume off of that low. So that was a bit of a false break as well, I think, from memory, or maybe it was we got 102, 101. What was this one here? 102, maybe not. So just come back and retest the low here, but big volume there and big reversal there. A bit of a consolidation, some good volume again, and it's pulled back here. Volume sort of a bit lighter, and then we've definitely seen some good volume again. Now it's pulled back here, so it's sitting back here on top of this previous little high here. So this sort of interesting price level there for the stock here. You probably wouldn't want to see it close below, 175, 174 or something like that. But this is interesting for the stock here. Kind of, stuff looks like it might be sort of starting to build something. I always get a bit scared of these sort of stocks that have had these big booms and then busts and another boom and then another bust here. So I think it's probably, well, they say sort of the old leaders don't become new leaders, so I don't think it's ever going to be a new leader again here. But look, maybe there's it can build in there in the short term. But my biases aside there, it doesn't look too bad on the chart. BC8, Black Cat. Thought this was pretty interesting there. Just look at that volume there, Chris, as well, from So coming out of here, I mean, this is probably, to be honest, if you look at like a lot of those black cats in that uranium space, I'm sure, in it.
I know.
But
While you're
yeah, but you get a little bit of a, you get a little bit of a cup and handle in there to some regard, then coming through here. But what you've seen there is you've seen this stock's been has held up pretty well through. You got to think because most of the miners are in that, sort of most of the lithium stocks, the iron ore, even uranium, even the energy, they're all coming off low bottoms here. So they've all had a pretty aggressive sort of sell off and had a pretty sharp bounce here. But look at this thing here, this black cat there.
it's telling me it's gold. 800 KD still.
I think there might have a few things in there, but but look, that's just it stayed pretty tight here. So, but that's sort of pretty strong volume. That's not volume that sort of just comes in at the end. That's volume sort of breaking out with a bit of legs there. So, I think this looks pretty solid here. So, this is one to keep an eye on there for some sort of consolidation there, because that's pretty strong volume coming out there. So, what else was there? I did notice, this was another one that could let you bias the other way here. Is that this has had a pullback there, so it's had a sort of did have like a little three-way pullback there, went to made a false break here. So that tells you that, okay, one of the rules of the false break is if you go to a margin new high, then normally means you're going to go back to a margin new low, which was fulfilled. So it went, did a pretty quick time. Now this has had a bit of a rally up here, pull back here. Is this going to build the first high low here? So the high there was 97 cents there on the 13th of September there. So a little B-wave break here was broken there on the 19th of September. So, I think the volume is okay as well, Chris. So that wasn't too bad. If you think about this has had an impulsive move, so pretty strong move. So gone from 30 cents up to 130. So definitely showing relative strength. This correction has stayed probably in the top third. So stayed pretty high, pretty tight. So it hasn't sort of had that 50% correction there. So it stayed in the top third. So it leaves it in a pretty strong position. I know Bill McLaren used to say the strongest stocks will stay in the top quartile. So those top quarter, they're the really strong stocks. So that if they don't come back more than a quarter, that's really really strong sort of stock here. But
probably a fair few of those in the model book, but
yeah, but I mean, if staying in the top third here is probably a good sign as well. That's definitely a sort of showing strength there, because most stocks will probably tend to come back 50%. But staying tight here, but that was a pretty good signal there. It's sort of like that's not a bad setup there. Again, if we're just trading in a cave there, no noise around us, no knowledge of what this sort of stock was or doing, that was a good setup there, just technically, just showing all the sort of hallmarks there. So I thought that was a good lesson as well. Bannerman as well has had a nice little move as well. So I was just talking earlier, Chris, I think NXG has had a pretty strong bounce. Deep yellow, big bounce as well. Whitehaven Coal, big bounce off the low. New Hope obviously got XC, but that's had a really sharp bounce off the low as well. And I think Bannerman was the other one that's had pretty decent. I think Paladin next. Then things like SLX and Boeing, Bow Energy, probably less strong there. So sounds funny here. The normal trading mindset is to go looking for the ones that haven't bounced yet, or the ones that have probably had the smallest bounce, and wait for them to sort of, because maybe they can make it up here. But history tells us the ones that come out of the gates the hardest.
Just raw and kick.
Yeah. So this came out of the gate the hardest there. So I had that impulsive there. Did a little 3-day consolidation there, not too much volume there, and when it's gone bang again, it's a pretty big move. So I would say it's gone from $8 to $10 there. So it's got what 25% move in a couple of weeks. So pretty strong move. So then I had a bit of a consolidation there. So you saw the volume tighten up, and it's staying tight again. So the stronger names are the ones to keep an eye on. So you want to sort of see them consolidate. So just got to remember there, remember there's say Charter Hall was one of the stronger property trusts that came out of the gates there sort of in July. So that was a pretty strong move as well. So it went from like 11 to almost 13. So $2 move, not quite 20%, but maybe like 15, 16%. Then it went through a contraction. So pulled back, A, B, C, and then tightened up here and looked like just wait for a little B wave there. So there's a few sort of stocks in there. I think even the Dexus is one of the other strong ones there, but there's a few other sort of names in there that it did tighten up here. So all that, nice BCP, that came out of the gates hard, pulled back, tighten up, and then it's gone again. So with all these energy names, if they've all come out of the gates hard here, everyone thinks, I better buy them. But they could just go through a contractionary period and tighten up a little bit here. So if you haven't already sort of bought these things here, to buy them now here, you might be buying them too late after everyone's already jumped in here. So you want to go through some sort of consolidation. It's just oftentimes you'll see this jump out of the gates. You want to see some sort of consolidation there and look for a low risk entry. So these have been pretty strong here so far, but they can keep going. There's a market where you sort of momentum is everything, as we know, and it can keep persevering here. But as a trader, there we probably want to be waiting. If you're not already in there, you should be waiting for some sort of low risk sort of setup there. So just notice oftentimes when they jump out, they'll consolidate back here. So we just got to wait for those sort of lower risk entries.
So that's Bannerman gets you to 30th on the top momentum companies. Just got me thinking of when you were talking about Sigma. So if you just pop that chart up for a second, what I'll try and do is
FXG, you mean, or
Sigma Health. Sorry.
So
that got me thinking. You were talking about the consolidation April through August and September, and sort of that tightness, and then they can break out the hardest. I'll see if I can do this screen share differently, because the Coils report something that, after conversations with you, Gary, and how you looked at the market, went away and created sort of the algorithm to generate the Coils or the listed Coils. And kind of, we're talking about launchpad leading into momentum. So that list of, they start off in the launchpad when they progress into the momentum. Quite often what can happen is they end up showing up the Coils list before they show up in the launchpad, and then they go to momentum. And we've just seen that with Sigma, so I'll see if I can share that. Let's see if
I think we found that Coils list there, Chris. When we'll find the bottom half was of the list rather than the top half.
Yes.
From memory it was giving us better or just kind of better setups there. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. So the top 10 were kind of not that great, but 10 to, I think we were looking at top 50 at the time. So I'm not sure. Can you see the Excel sheet?
I can't. No.
Oh, okay. Right. I'll start it.
So you need me to stop sharing and so.
Oh, okay.
You're going to do it. Yeah.
So if you stop sharing for a second, then what this was, this is how Gary was looking at the markets and seeing some of the setups he was looking for those leading companies. But this is, we've got the top 10 companies here on the ASX for momentum, or in the top 300. And you'll see this dark blue. So if you just zoom in here, we've got them color-coded. It was in the 2nd of October, so a couple of days old. But the point's still the same. These are the top 10 momentum companies in the ASX 300, which members get lists of 300 breakdowns each day. This dark blue is what we're going to look for. And we can see that it only just sort of shot into there in the last 2 days for a momentum leader. But it was a momentum leader back here. And we're going back in time to the left, similar to a price chart. And then we're back in here, we're seeing the dark blue. So it was showing up as a launchpad. It was here in the launchpad. And then going back in time a little bit further, we've got the Coils, and this is where it was showing as a coil before. And if we zoom out, you can see the pattern with the colors. We're going the same sort of colors. They'll end up clustering up here to the top right, where they're a bit, you'll see probably 2-3 weeks earlier, there's colors in here in the launchpad. And then sometimes you'll get the early signal with the Coils over to the left, even a couple of weeks earlier. And that was showing with Sigma. You can see that Sigma gave a coil indication here backed it up with the launchpad about a week and a half later, and then the rest is history. So that's how we use launchpad and momentum, and then also coils, which Gary has the benefit of getting when we are able to run the reports. But that's just that same thing that you're talking about. You're getting that compression, that real tightness, and then if it gives a coil out of that tightness, that compression, and then we get a launchpad as well, it's really telling us to move that up on the watch list and move that. Anyway, I get quite excited when I see that kind of progression, but I've digressed. We're talking about launchpad companies this week. So when you're looking through this week's launchpad, Gary, were there any
people who don't know what the coils are there? You see how like essentially like this is the 50, the 20, the 10 moving average. So when they all tighten up and all come together and almost sort of flat line, that's the sort of coiling. That's what basically that's how it comes up in Chris's system there. So when they're all basically sort of almost tightening up and going sideways for a while, that's basically a stock just sort of because normally you go through a bit of a sideways congestion or a consolidation period for a while. All those moving averages will all flatten line together, and then one or two things is going to occur. So it's either it's going to break up or it's going to break down. So if you do break out of those things there and you see the volume, and it is has been a relative strength leader already, and obviously that's all the hallmarks are there for you, So, but that's the power of that sort of coil system, where you can sort of see those leaders have a breather coil there. So,
yeah, they come out of that coil compression that you're talking about, and then move to the launchpad.
Yeah, it's funny actually. I used to look at that a lot. Of your reports, that was one thing I used to look at quite a lot. I was just thinking as we we're talking about this, I haven't looked at that recently for a while.
I've moved to database and I'm going to recalculate that one. So for the viewers, we're working on bringing that to you, but I'm going to move the database first. So anyway, that is something that Gary uses and likes. So when you're looking at the launchpad, which is something we've been able to recreate on the new database and share with you, what is it that you're seeing this week in the launchpad? Are you seeing any thematics that stand out? I know a couple of weeks ago it was the materials and resources that were standing out, or is it we can go for periods where we just don't get a solid signal? So are we coming back to that, or what are you seeing?
Yeah, you're still seeing a few lithium names in there. There's a couple of the smaller uranium names in there, and we've got a few. Still got a few metals in there. But I thought probably some of the lithium names in there, and just some of the energy players have sort of snuck in there as well. So, but I guess that's probably the predominant sort of pattern there. But there's a couple other names in there. There's obviously things like Bubs and Treasury Wine there, REA. So it's got there's a few mixed ones in there, but I think probably 2/3 to be sort of that metal space there, maybe a bit more.
Yeah, I think you're right. We shared this with members as a bit of a bonus yesterday, but I think you've summarised it pretty well. If we look in the top 200, which is a list that you and I review as well, there's 14 lithium names in the top 200 launchpad, 19 are battery related. There's also, uranium as well. There were 9 names in there. And then the energy heavyweights, so the large capitalised energy companies, which include coal as well. There's 10 of those names in there. So with that lead into the launchpad, I'm interested to see which charts you pull out of that list to talk about. So what's the first one you've got on the list?
Yeah, first one's AYA, which is obviously that battery tech sort of lithium space there. So it's a little small there, Chris. A little bit lightly traded as well, but you do have a bit of volume there. And look, it's had you might argue it's maybe broke a little B wave there, but not the easiest one to trade there. Probably not the type of thing for me personally. Probably not too liquid. I thought 40X was interesting there. Just had a big gap up out of the range there, but again the stock is trending down here, so we still don't have a swing high broken. So I see this is lower high here. So I know we're sort of maybe broke a little, you might argue a little B wave break here, but still on a pretty nice, still on a reasonably bad downtrend. So you might have said, this is a bit of a game changer trade here. Could have well been. went up an extra day there. So, but it has pulled back here. So that's probably the thing with those game trader trades. If you do get that big jump and get gap move there, just it is important to sort of trail, because sometimes obviously sometimes they fail here. But at least but if you're entering in here, you might have got stopped out in the first half an hour, maybe if it went a bit lower there, but maybe it's quick. You might sort of your entry might be here. If it goes another day, then you're probably moving your sort of stop up to break even at least. Because you don't run it. If you get a game trader trade, you get a bit of a move up. Then you go to the second day, then you should never go home a loser, Chris. Really, in that sort of situation there. If you keep it too wide here, they can come back here. I know sometimes they can come back like that and go again, but you'd be better off just getting stopped out at break even, and then it comes back down here again and looking to reset again. But yeah, this is still a pretty nasty downtrend there. So you just have to be patient there. Mineral Resources is one that's definitely come out of the box. I was definitely lucky enough to trade this for a few clients there. I thought it was a pretty good move here. Went a little harder than I thought there. I think I got out this day, which was the Friday there. I just thought it was just thought this is a bit of an A, B, sort of C leg there. Sort of it's had a pretty nice move. I just noticed when I looked at how these things in the past come out of the gates, they can do a little three-wave aggressive move and then go back in a retreat. So good thing is here, volume's pretty light here so far. I think we saw a little bit of congestion here. This one's held up probably better than some of the other sort of stocks here so far. So hasn't given much reach, but I think you'll sort of see some sort of consolidation here, Chris. Even if it's sort of only short there. I think you'll either get like a sharp 1, 2, 3 day sort of sell off, maybe 3 or 4 days, it'll come back, back into the range, try to come back to the 50, or you'll probably get something time consuming where you'll get a drawn out sort of consolidation period there. That's what I hope for. I hope it sort of just cools off here and congests there for a couple of weeks, and then the whole thing tightens up, and then we get a bit of a low risk entry again. Because these things, that's the weekly there. That's a pretty good move off the low here. Funny how we've just gone back up to the last swing low, bit of resistance there, so always levels there, but that's good volume here. Exhaustive in the low, big volume first week here, so that's good signs there of a good strong low here. Now we just got to wait for a consolidation there. So typically these things can take a couple of weeks here, so as good traders there, we just got to wait, sit back and wait for those things to consolidate. TOE, like one of the smaller uranium ones there, not the best bounce there. This is what, oftentimes people will go looking for the weak ones, Chris, when the strong ones are showing their hand. They really should be sort of trading the strongest names, not the weakest ones there. 5EA, had a bit of a bounce there, a bit of volume there. But again, pretty nasty downtrend there. It's had a few bounces in the past and it hasn't gone on with it. So that's why you got to sort of study stock's personality there. And if we look at this stock here, longer term as well, nasty downtrend. So we've got a wave of buyers here. Oh, we've got a wave underwater. We've got a wave of losers all in front of us there that are looking just to, to take anything back, So if I can just get 20 cents back or 15 cents, or if I can get, a quarter of my money or a tenth of my money, if you paid a lot higher here. So it's just going to come up. That's why these sort of stocks that are underwater here is so hard, do it tough, because there's just so many buyers in the past that are underwater, and as soon as they get anywhere near even, or they get half their price or a quarter of their price or whatever it is, they're just looking to sort of limit the damage. So hard for these stocks to really get, and there has to be some massive change in the business, some big game change in news there really to sort of spark them out there. So it's a tough battle for those sort of stocks that are sat up behind there. NVX, I thought this looked pretty interesting. It's had a nice little bounce there, Chris. This is sort of one that it has had a bit of a tough time. It has been up and down the stock here, but it can get a bit V-shaped there. It's had a nice move here off the low here. Probably want to sort of see some sort of consolidation. Volume's okay. I think I saw Syrah have a bit of a bounce as well, but probably not as just not as good as MTH as well. But yeah, you just want to sort of see this tighten up here. WR1, look, has broken above a swing high. That's one positive sign there. Volume okay, but yeah, it's still in a pretty nasty downtrend for a while. This as well. So I know it has made a false break there, which is interesting there. But if I zoomed out there, that's a pretty well-worn downtrend here. So look, I know they can recover again, but it's just going to be a little harder than some of the others there. But look, looks okay there, but you probably want to sort of see some consolidation there. Not for me personally. I don't want to be fighting the tape that hard there. SLX I thought was interesting, had a nice bounce, like some of those other uranium names. So let's just keep an eye on here, wait for some sort of consolidation. ADX. Too small for me personally. Yeah, it's like a volume there, but just too small. BEB. Some people are asking about this. Yeah, pretty small here. Pretty tough trading here, really. Again, but it's just got a wave of losers in front of us, so it's just going to be hard to make inroads there. And there's so many buyers in the past who have bought at much higher prices, just looking to get out on any sort of any rally here. So very tough for bubs there. Just thinking of them on there. CXL is a bit more interesting there. This one's again, this one's had a pretty decent downtrend as well. Look at the weekly, pretty nasty there. But this is in that sort of green energy space. At least the thing down here is we've actually seen some big volume here for probably almost a year now. Maybe the last 9 months there. So, it does look like maybe some potential accumulation taking place down here, but still got a wave of still got lots of, this is what, $9, $9.65, and we're down to 120 here. So we're going to be, up against it. Isn't that sort of, but we do have a little bit of volume there. Maybe broken couple of swing highs there. Nothing too much there, but look, we've got a little bit of volume coming in. So got something happening here.
Could you be 0, 1, 2, 3 into an accumulation cylinder, or it's not there yet?
Yeah, look, probably a bit early there. I just like the fact that it actually sat on top of this previous, did break this little swing high there. There was just some good volume coming through there. And then it did have a little bit of a square off here, sitting on top of that previous high. Oh, okay, it breaks through this here. Because now it's just like, instead of like a little ABC and then downhill decline again, that's typically what the stocks that have been going down for a long time, they'll have a little three-way rally and then trigger in the downtrend. So this sort of hasn't done that. We've actually started to see a bit of volume coming in here. So just looks a bit early here, but I thought yesterday was interesting there, the fact that it's actually poked its head to a near high here, and then we've had a couple of sideways days here where it's nothing, It's just in that sort of green energy sort of area. So I know a few people sort of think this stock's got potential here, but look, the volumes have been up for a while here, but just hasn't got going here. But just maybe some signs of life here for this stock here, but just got to remember it's not going to fly because there's a lot of sort of sellers, a lot of buyers who've paid a lot more. So it's going to have to go through a bit of a wall of selling there. PLL. We want this sort of smaller one here. It's had a little bit of a jump, but not too much there. I did watch that Treasury. I was watching that. Again, it's sort of, you've got that larger A, B, C. I think if you measure that move, measure the A leg down, that I think the C leg was exactly the same size there. Saw a bit of volume coming in down in the lows as well. So the signs of accumulation there. So, yes. Unfortunately, this market is just so quick for us, right? So, just look at what happened. This is CNU is the China tech. That's the ETF. I think so that's we're talking about Michael Burry was buying a lot of Chinese equities about 3 or 4 weeks ago. Probably about a week or two before. It might have been somewhere in here. So, but yeah, they've gone crazy. I think Alibaba, which is probably in that neighborhood. Look at that, Jesus, So come out of there. The thing about this, Chris, is quite amazing. This is a little different than normal, because you've got Alibaba sort of, it's obviously had a bit of a rally out of the lows there. It's come back here. You've got a little bit, maybe a little V-wave breakdown here, maybe another V-wave break in here. You got a congestion through here, and that's probably the best setup in there, because now you've sort of got this, you always got a little cup and handle in here, but the whole thing sort of congested, the whole thing, little VCP in here, tightened up, little tight pattern. Once it's come out of here, it's gone through, and it's really taken off. But that's when the volume first came in. Is actually the break of that little VCP. So the volume has come in kind of, it's almost coming in at the end of the move, or the end of the move as what we see. But that volume in here is like, that's big volume. So oftentimes when we see like these momentum stocks, and they build and they get going, and then they run up, and then they have a little bit of a breather, and they run up again and have another breather, and then we see some big volume come in. Oftentimes that is, we think, oh, this is run pretty far, looks pretty extended. But when we're seeing volume come in large, up near the highs, that's when they can keep going there. You often sort of see it. So this is really interesting here, that the volume has come in, when the stock's already up, 40, 50%. So that's pretty interesting. Yeah, that's a lot of buying going on already after the move. So that, if we look at some of those momentum stocks in the past, that's often meant this has sort of kept going here. So that's probably a good sign here for some of these Chinese equities anyway. So like normally you'd think about a move like this, you should have a pullback and sort of consolidation there, but this is one to keep an eye on, actually, some of these some of those Chinese sort of ETFs and stuff there, because that's had a pretty, that's come out of the gates, all that big strong move here. You want to see some sort of, I would like to see some sort of tight consolidation first before I look at those again. But the volumes on some of those stocks, even some of the bigger names, look pretty, they've come in late too. So that's kind of a good sign here. So yeah, that's me for the day, Chris. I did have a quote there, or actually I saw a tweet about a week ago. Tom Keane, actually, I think he's like a Bloomberg journo. And he was reading something that RBD Shapiro, Henrik Bessenbinder did a review of the S&P 500 for like basically reviewed the last 90 years results. And
like earnings results.
So the results for the S&P 500 for 90, it looks at the stocks, sectors, and performance and stuff there. He was saying just 86 stocks accounted for half of the total stock market wealth creation over this 20-year period. Less than half of the stocks in the universe generated any returns for investors. So only 42% earned more than the risk-free rate of treasuries over the entire period. So only 42% did better than treasuries. Less than 4% of the thousands of stocks in the universe accounted for virtually all of the market gains.
Yeah.
4%. So, yeah, really, really interesting. I mean, it just goes to show, that's if you're looking for outperformance and you're buying, trying to bottom pick, it's tough, So, yeah, I mean, it's obviously like you've seen all those sort of studies, like on the Mag 7 and stuff like that. If you look under the hood, there's something, take out the Mag 7, their performance of the S&P 500 has been pretty average. Yeah. So it just goes to show that's why, look, most of the gains are made by being in the strongest momentum leader there. I mean, you just have to look at, the number one stock in the market here, like Nvidia. I won't bore you with the daily chart there. But yeah, there's a weekly chart there. So I mean, again, the whole thing.
Yes.
Yeah. Look, the whole thing's tightening up again, Chris, as well. So, yeah, it's interesting. So I noticed the other day did make this is a little B wave break in here the other day. Sort of, so it's had its ABC come back, first high low, had another little bounce. For me, I would have, I would potentially might have traded this one here. had a bit of a move here. Might have got stopped out on the 10 or 20. If you had the 20 there, you might still be in there. But yeah, still looks okay. But we'll see. It's had a terrific run, but it just goes to show that, yeah, that's why I think it highlights the importance of trading some of these stronger names. Because
Well, that's going back 20 years. I remember one of the lecturers at uni brought out statistics just like that. Very similar study. I can't remember the exact ones, but I remember jaw dropping because I was working in a broking office at the time and doing IPOs and thinking, how is it that these companies that were floating, that were listening to, that were raising capital for and having shooting the lights out because it was commodity super cycle, how is it that so few of them actually contribute to the long-term success of the market? And it's the chart that you've got on the screen here. It's the companies that you're consistently looking at and trading. It's those momentum leaders that actually shape economies, drive markets, and do the heavy lifting of the performance. So
yeah, that's probably why Aussie investors are sort of endeared to stocks with like a 4 to 6% dividend yield. At least then they're guaranteed some returns there, and then hopefully on top of that, But it is, I'll look at obviously timing, trading, have pattern stuff there, but it's definitely does highlight the importance of actually being sort of trading these sort of stronger names in the market. They generally do the heavy lifting in the market. So if you are looking to get those, if you're looking to get those bigger gains, you do need to be trading in the top end of the market, and just trying to bottom pick and stuff there is it's just a risky game there. You've seen here some of the stocks have gone down a lot lower than you ever thought here, and we know by doing this every week that stocks have been running, they just keep going. I mean, we showed that that EZZ, that's probably the one. That stock's been on the list for a long time, Chris.
yeah,
So it's been a momentum lead ahead. What are we today? We're
like third or something like
surprised it's at an all-time high today. Yeah, this is. I was telling someone this morning. I got a copy there that if you just do an exercise, look at the 52-week highs, 52-week lows. Just do it for 2 weeks every day. Look at the names on that list. The 52-week highs. I'm just be surprised how many will keep coming up day after day after day, making highs. And the same list is going lower, lower, lower. But they keep going new 52-week highs, low each day for 2 weeks. So you see the same ones in there. So human nature, we want to try and bottom pick. That's where human beings are drawn for a
bargain,
for the half price or 50% off or 2 for 1, whatever it is. But the markets show here exactly this: is that these momentum leaders, they have a habit of running and keep running for much longer than anyone thinks. And yeah, I'm amazed, having gone through those model books there and gone through the strongest names there, just keep seeing them on the list there over and over. And having, obviously, we've been doing this about 3 years now, Chris, so we just see those stronger names there on that list there, just keep humming along, So yeah, it is kind of redefining the way that I look at the market and trade the market, definitely.
Well, keeping across those momentum leaders is definitely paramount to finding those best heavy lifters, the ones that drive the economy. If you want the same list that Gary gets on a Thursday, the top 30 momentum companies and the top 30 launchpad, you can join as a member below. Also subscribe to keep across the videos. There's Gary's Tuesday report where he's setting that out to his clients and the trades that he's putting into the portfolios. And then also we'll put on screen at the end here, Gary's talked about that model book. A lot of his time and blood, sweat and tears went into that research, and he shared it and taken a lot of time to share that with us. But he goes into great detail of these leads that we're talking about on the ASX, and he's consistently talking about. So we'll put that on screen and say thank you very much, Gary Glover from Novus Capital.
Thanks, Chris.